Hey there, it's Jake from Texla, and today we're going to be going over how to submit a Twilio remediation plan. If you received an email from Twilio saying that your account is temporarily suspended, it's going to be an email from the Twilio compliance and operations team with like a request number saying why your account is currently suspended. They'll have some steps and also list out kind of the areas you need to fill out along with the response you need to get back to them. In that email, they're going to have a remediation form PDF that you have to download and fill out and submit back to them. So we're going to be showing you how to go through that. And this video is going to be broken up into sections. So depending on what was in your email, just skip ahead to the sections that kind of apply to you. So first step, we're going to have to put that PDF into a PDF editor. If you have like Adobe Acrobat, that works great. But we're going to be using this, I don't even know how to say it, Saja, and I'll have a link to this page in the description. So we're going to go ahead and upload our remediation template. Awesome. So the first step, you're just going to go ahead and date it. So we'll do, 3/12/24 for us. Customer name, that's just going to be your name. Preparer name, that's most likely going to be your name as well. If you're an employee that's preparing this, but the account is maybe under your boss or something, just put their name under customer name and preparer name under yours, and then just type in your email. So now we're on the step where we're actually going to be filling out kind of the rebuttals and remediation plans for the violations that occurred. So the first one can be high opt-out rate. So this is generally if your opt-out rate exceeds like 3 or 4% within the first week of your account sending. This is probably the most common one, as if you're sending to like a new list with maybe 15,000 folks and you're sending to them for the first time, the chances that a lot of them are going to opt out is pretty high. So what they're really asking for here is a couple things. The first is your current opt-out process fails to include X. That could be something like a checkbox, that they're consenting to receive messages from you, or maybe a terms of service and privacy policy. So if that form is missing something like message frequency, aka how many messages you're going to send them a month, maybe steps to receive help. So if they type help, they can receive help. Opt out, so just typing stop to opt out. If those things are kind of missing in your opt-in workflow form, or however your opt-in workflow works, I would recommend just typing out that it's missing those things, and then the next step is just to say that you're going to make the following corrections. So everything that you said that it's missing kind of in the top, you're going to make those corrections to your opt-in form. So generally for this step in the email, they're also going to ask for a link to your opt-in form with those kind of changes already made. So if you do whatever you type in here that you are going to change to get this back up and running, be sure that you do add that to your opt-in process, because when you send them the link for that, they're going to be looking for kind of what's in here. And then once it's all been typed out, you also want to go over here and just add the date of implementation. And that's that for high opt-out rate. Next up, we have lack of sender ID. So essentially what this means is you're required to send messages that say, if it's from me, I would have to say, hey, it's Jake Cook here with Texla. So here, the first step, we've got lack of sender ID occurred because ... So just type something out why you didn't include sender ID. This can be something as simple as, we just weren't up to date with the compliance. We took a look at the docs and noticed that this is required. Then the next one is you're going to ensure all initial messaging contains a clear sender ID, such as name of a business entity or product by deploying. So essentially sender ID is only required for kind of the first message that goes out to folks, kind of introing your number, introing yourself so they knew who those messages are coming from. So just be sure to type out, that those messages are going to say, hey, this is X from X, or however you want to set up that sender ID. And then also down here, you want to put in a sample message body that's revised. So maybe take one of your previous texts that didn't have that introduction, just add, hey, this is, X from X to it, and then the message. So that's all you'll need here. And then in this column, you're going to want to go ahead and date it once it's complete. Next up is lack of opt-out language. So this is something as simple as reply stop to opt out at the end of your messages. So This is only required for the first message that you send out to folks, but it is really recommended to have it on as many texts as possible, just to kind of give your audience the opportunity to opt out, and kind of remind them that they can opt out. So first up, lack of opt-out occurred because ... This can be as simple as just explaining that you weren't super familiar with the compliance. After you've reviewed the docs, you realize that it actually is a really big deal, and you're going to now be implementing it for kind of all your texts. So that's that next part. You're going to ensure that all initial messaging includes opt-out language using a standard opt-out keyword such as stop, stop all, unsubscribe, cancel, and quit. So I just recommend saying that, we're going to ensure that all initial messaging to our customers moving forward has the message reply stop to opt out at the end of the message. And then down here, sample message body, you're just going to take one of your older texts, throw it in here, and then just add reply stop to opt out at the end. And if you did also get lack of sender ID, have that intro piece at the beginning as well. And then once that's completed, we'll just go ahead over here and date it. And it works both ways too. If you got both, I would also recommend going to the lack of sender ID section and adding reply stop to opt out to that. Next up, we have high delivery error rate. So this is a little bit difficult for me to give you guys full examples just because there's so many errors. This isn't a super common one. Generally, it's if you're hitting a ton of like invalid numbers or numbers that aren't set up correctly. So you can just say high delivery errors were driven by XYZ. Unfortunately, I'm not sure why you have a high delivery error rate, but if you do have any questions and you're not sure why, feel free to just email me at jake@texla.com along with like a screenshot of your messaging insights page. If you're not sure where to find that, just email me letting me know that you want to send a screenshot over and you're not sure how to get there. Just email me with a little bit of context and I can send over a link to get to that page inside of Twilio, and then I can take a look at your message errors and figure out kind of why you're getting that high delivery error rate kind of issue, and then we can draft up a quick remediation plan for you. It's actually pretty simple. You just look at your errors, see why you're getting high delivery errors, because there's usually a description on those errors that you're getting back. Type out why that was, and then fill out you're going to start monitoring and proactively addressing kind of whatever those errors were coming back as. If it's like a ton of invalid numbers, you're going to start running those numbers through some maybe verifiers, and also you're going to go back through your old list and make sure that you take out any numbers that were invalid. And you're going to want to go over here and date this. Next up is snowshoeing. So this is very uncommon. If you do receive this, the chances that you're going to get reapproved are pretty slim, but I can walk through this. Essentially what snowshoeing is the kind of older definition is, let's say you have one account and you have the messaging spread across like 50 numbers to try to avoid kind of carrier filtering. Nowadays, that's not really super possible. They kind of have made some patches to snowshoeing because of A2P 10DLC and how that kind of is set up. But you can still get this if you're running it over multiple accounts, right? If you're running it over multiple accounts to miss that carrier filtering. So first up, customer used, list all the phone numbers to send identical messages as a method to avoid carrier filtering or increase throughput. Pick which one you were kind of trying to do, because maybe you just weren't aware that that was non-compliant or something along those lines. You just wanted to send those messages out. Next up, you will ensure message campaigns are not sent over a large volume of phone numbers or accounts as a method to avoid filtering or increase throughput by. And what I would recommend there is saying, you're going to release your extra numbers, or you're going to close kind of your extra accounts and only be operating off of one phone number and one account to remain compliant there. And you're going to want to go ahead over here and date this. And last step, we have prohibited and illegal content if you're sending illegal content. So this is about 50-50 if you're going to get reapproved. If it was like a one-time thing and you accidentally sent something, like maybe you have a host of products, like let's say you have a ton of lotion and you have like one CBD lotion, and then that ends up, coming back as illegal and prohibited content on Twilio. It was a one-time thing. You're very sorry about it. It does take a while to get you back in the swing of things. It takes about 1 to 2 weeks because they have to do a bunch of digging. But it is possible to get out of this. However, if you have a long history of sending prohibited and illegal content, it's kind of a long shot that you're going to get reapproved. So we'll kick this off. So the first step is customer allowed illegal/prohibited content to be sent from their account because. So this could be something like we weren't aware of the kind of compliance with this specific product, or we had an intern that was sending out emails for this and they took the liberty of sending a text with it without kind of running it by us, right? So whatever kind of applies there, why that got sent out. Next up, customer will offboard end users who are participating in illegal activities and will ensure monitoring is in place to prevent illegal traffic moving forward. And then at the end of this, I would also go into a little bit of detail about what that monitoring is, what that kind of looks like. And also I would put that in place because they are going to reach out to you kind of once you've submitted this, they're going to reach back out to you within a few days, kind of asking for more details about what that monitoring looks like and a couple extra things. And then last up, you're going to put proper vetting in place to ensure that you do not onboard customers that plan to use the platform for illegal activity moving forward. So that essentially means, any of your maybe new marketing hires that come in, you're going to put them through a kind of compliance setup, right? That they know exactly what you're allowed to send on Twilio, what you're not allowed to send on Twilio. I'll also have a doc to Twilio's official document on non-compliant texts if you're not quite even sure what you sent that caused this issue. Some common examples are like CBD, nicotine, some financial things. So I'll just have the link to that below. It'll be called Twilio non-compliant use cases. So just check that out and you can kind of see what all of that entails. And then also I would recommend just passing that over to any of your new hires that are going to be sending texts just to ensure that they're kind of up to date on what's allowed and what's not allowed. And then last up, we can go ahead and date this. Awesome. And then once this has been filled out, you can just hit apply changes on this site. It's going to process and you can just go ahead and download it. It'll be saved. And then you can submit that to Twilio by just responding to their email. It'll take a while for them to get back to you, like a few days, because they have to review it and it's got to go through a bunch of steps. And then, like I said, most likely they're going to reach back out with a couple extra questions. And you're going to want to have to answer those to get the account reinstated. Hopefully this video helped. If anybody has any questions at all about this, I know it's very tricky to kind of navigate and it can be a little frightening because your account is now suspended. But don't worry, most of this is super simple to get resolved if you're kind of like a first time. If this is the first time having an issue. If this has happened before, the odds of you kind of getting your account back up are pretty slim. But if it's your first time, have no worries. Twilio is there to work with you to kind of educate you and make sure that you have the right stuff in place moving forward. So if you have any questions at all, just hit me up. My email is jake@texla.com and I'm happy to get back to you. Have a great day.